Boom, boom, boom. This is Jared, and I'm back. Hey, guys, I'm the host of Warriors Quest, Jared A. Brown, and I'm so excited. I'm amped, okay? I'm so excited to be back, all right, and do another episode, another show for Warriors Quest. All right, Warriors, be ready because we've got a great show, all right? Man, all right, we've got a good one. Okay, we've got a great co-host tonight. Somebody who's been on one of our shows from the Urban Health Outreach Media Network very recently. All right. Somebody who has been battling kidney disease in her own right. All right. And has some guns of her own by battling. And she's got the boxing gloves every day battling this disease. And so I'm bringing on Elizabeth Sterling from, okay, now, I'm going to say this wrong, but hopefully not. Johnsonville, Tennessee, is that right?
No, Johnson.
Oh my gosh! All right, I got it wrong. Johnson City,
Yes.
Johnson City, Tennessee.
Have you ever heard the song "Wagon Wheel"?
Yes, I have. Okay, all right, yeah, very nice. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I advocate for somebody currently who's from Kentucky, and her hospital is Vanderbilt, and so that's her transplant hospital is Vanderbilt. So, how far away is Vanderbilt from you?
About 4.5 hours.
All right. Okay. Yeah, she's from Marion, Kentucky, so she chose Vanderbilt as her transplant hospital. Her name is Brenda Chanel. And so I have a Facebook page, and I manage that, and I help her and try to promote her cause for a living kidney donor. But
awesome.
Anyway, so thanks. Please, let's have you introduce yourself. Okay, for those that maybe have not seen you recently on the Urban Health Outreach Media Network, Steve has interviewed you recently, and please take a moment and introduce yourself and give us kind of a synopsis of how you're connected to kidney disease.
Well, first of all, Jared, I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me as your co-host. I hope that I can, bring some good insight into the discussion this evening. I am in stage 3 polycystic kidney disease. I was diagnosed in 1998, and it's 2019 now, and I'm in stage 3B. I've managed to stay off of dialysis. No transplant at this point. I did get on GnRQ, which is the approved medication to slow down the progression of polycystic kidney disease for autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease.
Right. Okay.
And with polycystic, it's a lot different because our kidneys grow, and you get, your kidney is your size of your fist. And when you get polycystic, they just kind of get bigger and bigger and bigger, and get blood and fluid filled cysts. In the last week and a half, 2 weeks, I've battled a UTI. Thursday of this past week, I experienced my first 2 ever.
Oh my gosh!
Don't ever want to
kidney stones.
Yes, ever.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Adam.
So I just have a quick question, okay? Because I mentioned to you while you were being interviewed by Steve Belcher in the comments, and then offline, I was telling you that I've got an uncle, and then I've got an older brother that has PKD, and I'm not sure if they have the same one as you, but I do know that each of them has battled kidney stones. Now, is that something normal for people who have PKD to battle kidney stones?
It is very normal for a lot of patients with PKD to experience kidney stones. And, like I said, I got diagnosed in 1998, started having problems in 1996, and here we are in 2020, and I've never had kidney stones.
Never had them.
5 days ago.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, and it was the most
Help me
miserable.
understand because I have heard, okay, that this is nearly as painful or just as painful as delivering a baby. How
Oh,
painful was that?
I can attest to that. Absolutely.
Really? Oh my gosh. That
It was
is
3 o'clock in the morning.
incredible.
It was 3 o'clock in the morning. My schedule's all off. I was sitting there watching TV,
Uh-huh.
and all of a sudden, it just bam, sideswiped me. It just
Just like that.
came out of nowhere. And then I had another episode about
Uh-huh.
3 years later, and I went to sleep for 9 hours. um,
You're
after
wiped out probably.
I was wiped out, and I
Yeah.
actually had somebody coming to take me to the hospital, and I was just
Uh-huh.
asleep. And when I woke up, the intense pain was gone, but I did have a lot of discomfort and tenderness for a couple of days.
Oh,
But
I
I
can
seem,
only imagine.
seem to be on the mend now. So
Okay.
fingers crossed it doesn't happen. And
Yes.
I
Fingers
don't want
crossed.
that again. Childbirth was enough.
Oh, right, right. Oh my gosh. I read online that you weren't doing well, and I vaguely remember the UTI, but you know, if you did put that you had kidney stones and I didn't read or I didn't pay attention, I don't remember that. I am so sorry to hear that.
Well,
Man, you
I did
have been through a little bit.
I did a big synopsis. I think it was Friday or Saturday. I can't really remember.
Okay. All right.
I did we have a health portal at Vanderbilt. So I sent her
Okay.
a message and she said, if that happens again, just get my butt to the ER immediately for statins. I
Were
don't
they
know.
reprimanding you, or were they just, you know, being just, were they just kind of reminding you?
She was reminding me.
Okay, all right.
She was reminding me that I
Okay.
have to listen to my body and advocate for myself. So
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, you know, and because I remember reading that, you know, that's why when I, you know, tried to, you know, do some dialogue and try to, you know, make sure that we were still on, I was concerned about your health, you know, and so I didn't want to push you to be a co-host. So I'm glad you're feeling somewhat better, you know, and that you're well enough anyway to be on this show tonight as a
I was
co-host. Thank you.
with Steve on Friday for about 5 minutes or so, and I just backed out. I just didn't feel well enough to do it. But I'm okay today, and
Okay.
here we are.
That's
So
good. Here we are. Yeah. All right. So this medicine, okay, that you take that you were that you got the approval to take, um,
mhm.
is what's the name of it, and how does that work exactly again?
In clinicals, it was called tolvaptan, and the commercial medication is called GenRQ. I was in the
Okay.
clinical trials for about 2.5 or 3 years. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been on it for almost five. It went commercial in April of 2018. So, a lot of places, a lot of insurances will cover the medication, but
Uh-huh.
there's people out there with PKD that are interested in taking GenRQ and they don't have insurance or their insurance will not cover it. There is a patient assistance program that you can contact called Otsuka. They're the
Okay.
manufacturers of the medication, and they do have
Yeah.
a patient
Okay.
program. So you can call and get in with them and, see if you can't get them to cover the cost. But of course, your doctor has to, be educated on the medication and write the prescription.
Uh-huh.
I was very lucky that my nephrologist was over stage 3 of the clinical trials.
All right.
So
All right.
I did my clinical trials at Vanderbilt with my actual nephrologist.
With
Uh,
your actual nephrologist. Very cool.
she was over. She
Yeah.
was part of the study. So I just, instead of going to in-clinic visits, I went to a medical
Uh-huh.
arts facility where they did research.
Okay.
They dispensed my medication. They did all of my blood
Uh-huh.
work there, dietary, everything that I needed, I got there.
All right.
And
Very cool.
what Lisa Baxter say in the Polycystic Kidney Disease Foundation, if you go onto pkdcure.org, there should be some information on the website about that. Um, and they're just making so many advances in with research for cures for just kidney disease in general.
Right.
And the GenRQ is the first approved medication by the FDA for polycystic kidney disease. Now, I know that they are doing other research for other medications,
Besides
but
besides yours that you're
yes,
using. Okay.
I know they're using metformin as one, which I find kind of
Mm-hmm.
strange since it's used for diabetes. But
Okay.
originally tolvaptan, also known as Samsca, is used for congestive heart failure.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so there's different
So
uses for the
that
medication.
do different things, yeah,
Mhm.
and they have a correlation. I'd be interested in. So if Steve and Lisa have interviewed another gentleman, okay, another person that is, I think his name was Blaine. I may be forgetting his name, and I apologize. But they've interviewed somebody else who's taking medication to slow down PKD. And I'd be curious to find out from Lisa or Steve if it's the same medication that you take or if
Yeah,
it's different.
it may be.
So anyway, so that is extremely interesting to me. It began because my brother has it, and obviously I have a genuine love for my brother, but all kidney disease warriors, yeah, and I'd like anybody who has been able to slow PKD, polycystic kidney disease down, okay, and if it has worked for you, then I would love to have other people get more information about it because if you can do it and they get approved to take the clinical studies as well, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Well, I mean,
Bill Brazil is his name.
what was
I
it?
was off on the name. Yeah, I was off on the name, Elizabeth. I thought the guy's name was Blaine. I'm way off. It's Bill.
Bill.
Started with a B.
Lisa,
Yeah. But anyway,
That name does sound
yeah,
familiar. Is he part of our PKD living with polycystic kidney disease group?
I think he may be. He
He
dressed
may.
up. He had like this big suit. He dressed up in this suit as a PKD like character. She says that she'll send you a text.
Okay.
Anyway, so so that is very interesting, and to get the dialogue going for other people that are watching this broadcast, as well as the other broadcasts that Steve interviewed you on, it's always good to get dialogue going so that other people are more aware of it, because education is powerful. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It can literally give people hope, and I'll tell you what, hope. Okay, Elizabeth is the most powerful word in any language, German, Italian, Spanish, whatever. It is so powerful. And I love to give people hope. So if anybody has questions about this trial, this clinical trial that you're doing, will you be okay if they message you directly?
Absolutely, yeah. If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer anything, or they can join the Tolvaptan community page. Um,
Okay.
it's a specific page it's based out of the UK, but it is worldwide, and it's for
Mm-hmm.
patients who are taking the medication.
All
And
right.
they explain, their stories, their downfalls, their upsides, side effects. People that are on GenRQ mostly complain about thirst and bathroom trips and broken sleep. Right now I'm sitting here drinking hot lemon water out of my cup that says struggle is real. And
The
then
struggle is real. Nice.
I have my cold water over here. So, I don't go.
Okay. All right.
So
Okay.
you got to
Well,
drink.
it is, the struggle is real. The struggle is real. It is. All right. So we're bringing on a special guest tonight. He's been on Warriors Quest before. And so I'm going to introduce him. But before I do that, I'm going to thank our sponsors. And I'm going to put you in backstage while I do that, Elizabeth, and I'm going to bring you back on and we're going to introduce him.
Okay,
So
I'll see you guys in a little bit.
all right, one moment. So I want to thank our sponsors. Our sponsors. Okay, we've had Renadil. Okay, we've been talking about that. Kibo makes Renadil, and I want to thank our sponsors from Kibo who make Renadil. Okay, as we've said before on many of the Urban Health Outreach Media Network shows. Okay, it's a dietary supplement. All right, the FDA disclaimer. Okay, these products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. And I want to be clear about that. All right, but please understand that the microbiome is unique. So the product may not work for everyone. Okay. But if you have kidney problems, low functioning kidney or renal deficiency, okay, Renadil may help you. It may help lower, okay, it may help and make you, and it may actually help do this in regards to your bun. Okay, so it may help you. Renadil. Okay, if you haven't heard Jim Fabian, okay, talk about this, you need to hear him. He gets really excited and pumped up about it. All right, and then I also want to thank, okay, our other sponsors from. I want to thank our other sponsors. We've had Michael Scott. Okay, Michael Scott is terrific, a kidney warrior who is making anything from t-shirts to right now masks. He was making masks before, okay, COVID-19 hit us. Okay, he was making them for kidney warriors to help prevent any, germs and stuff because their immune systems are weakened. He was doing this even before. He's got a great Etsy website. Okay, I want to see if I can show that on the screen if I can. Bear with me just a moment. I've got a banner over here somewhere, so bear with me here. We got the dialysis warrior, Michael Scott. So here's his banner down below. I've got it. It's displayed across the screen right here. Okay, so, and then we've got, again, Kibo, the information here from Kibo. That's the information from Kibo. If you want to learn more about Renadil, there's the information there. All right, and then I want to talk about, okay, we've got right now we've got, okay, here we go right here. Are you okay? Okay, National High Potassium Awareness Day, May 1st. Okay, we've got a great sponsor, and anybody who's heard Richard Knight speak knows he's a great ambassador. Okay, so please go to this, www.ruok.org. The National High Potassium Awareness Day on May 1st is coming up. So now that I've done that, I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. Okay, I'm going to bring back our co-host, and then we're going to bring on our special guest, Elizabeth. We've got Jeremy Parroco. I've had him on Warriors Quest before, and he was a sterilization expert before he even realized he had kidney disease. And so he knows about having everything clean and sterile, and he's got a great background about that. So I'm going to bring on Jeremy Parroco. Welcome to Warriors Quest, Jeremy.
Hey, Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Elizabeth.
You're welcome. Hey, thanks for coming on again, brother. I know that we've had you on before, and you've been able to tell your story before, and it's an amazing one, okay? Because Elizabeth, when he tells his story, he has an amazing story where he literally could have died, okay? He literally, for all intents and purposes, was dead. And
yes,
he came back. It's an amazing story. Yes,
absolutely.
Forward to hearing it.
Yes. So please, Jeremy. All right. Right now, okay, we've got somebody who's from New Jersey right now. You're in New Jersey. Okay, that alone brings up so many questions about how you are. But please introduce those people that may or may not know you already. Give us a brief introduction, okay, and remind people how your kidney's strong.
Right. Well, as you said, I am in New Jersey. I'm about 30 miles away from the New York City border. And as you said, I am a sterilization expert. I started off as a sterilization tech right here in my hometown. Well, not my hometown, my town of Piscataway, New Jersey. I worked at, I believe it was St. Peter's University Hospital, which was the teaching hospital. And that's where I started my whole technical career. as a sterilization expert, I guess you could say. And I worked all my whole way up to being eventually a director for a sterilization department down in Florida, where I lived up until about 2 years ago in the Fort Myers area. Uh, but as you said, Jared, I did die. November 1st, 2017 was when I found out haphazardly that my kidneys failed on me. I woke up with in the emergency room, and that I had, apparently I was shocked back to life after about 21 minutes of being clinically dead. And I didn't believe it until I got my paperwork where it showed me everything. Apparently, I came in with a blood pressure of 205 over 190. So, of course, that was a concern of theirs. But what happened the night before? I was in Maine, roughly about 1,300 miles away from home, living my worst nightmare. I thought I was having a stroke, hence the elevated blood pressure, and I already knew what the signs of a stroke was. So I literally thought I was having um, a TIA, a transient ischemic attack, which is considered a baby stroke. I had trouble with my speech. I had trouble and being what I was, doing what I was doing, which was an implementation specialist working with Central Sterile. I had basically a whole spiel that I should be able to, basically mouth off, within 10 minutes. I couldn't even gather my words. So I honestly thought I was having a stroke, and I actually took a nosedive into the Central Sterile department. So that alone was scary. Now, mind you, I was on an assignment, so
Right.
my hotel was a 20-minute drive away. I managed to drive myself home.
It's just amazing to me.
And the funny thing is, when I was driving home, I kept thinking, "What are you going to eat for dinner?" That was the most important thing on
that
on
was
my
on
mind.
your mind.
So I said, "I'm going to have some pizza and soda."
Yeah.
And when I got to the hotel, which was, as I said, 20 minutes away, I ordered my pizza and soda.
Good for you.
And it came, and I was sitting there, and I said, "Now I have a very close friend that I considered a sister." And I called her. I said, "What should I do?" She said, "Take your butt back to the hospital." Now the
Did she
hospital I
say
was working. Oh yeah, she was very adamant about it. She said, "If you're not going to take your butt there, I'm going to come up there from Rochester, New York, and drive you myself."
All right. All right.
And I said, "Okay, all right." After I have my pizza.
Yeah. But see, Elizabeth, what this tells me, okay, from and I think that many kidney warriors have experienced this, is that it hadn't sunken in yet. Do you know
No,
what I
it did
mean?
not.
It hadn't become real. Do you know what I mean? That's what it tells me, Elizabeth. Is that kind of what you're thinking when he's telling this?
I'm thinking more along the lines that pizza is essential. So
Okay.
I mean,
It
I
was for
was
the
hungry.
comic relief.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of it, if it does take a while for it to sink in, and if you wanted to have that pizza before you went back to the hospital, I can completely understand that, because once you got back in those doors, you probably weren't going to get any food for quite a while.
Oh,
That's a
life was
good
over.
point. Right.
Life was over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker. I was on assignment working with the Veterans Association of Veterans Hospitals
Mhm.
of America. So I was working with our boys. trying to be their advocate, for surgeries or whatever they may need. So I was with the VA hospitals of the United
Wow.
States, working
Right.
as an implementation specialist, helping them get into a better place. So
So help me
I drove
understand
my
if I would, and I don't mean to interject, Jeremy, I apologize, but help me understand, how you were able to, you know, um, what your job entailed in regards to sterilization and how you were able to become an expert at it.
well. I fell into sterilization by accident. I'm going to be
Okay.
completely truthful.
Uh-huh.
I was going to school as a health information management specialist, and it just so happened one of my classmates said, "Hey, look, I work at St. Peter's. I think I can get you in as a for a job." And I said, "Great." This was back in 2008. I was just graduating. I needed money. I had bills to pay.
Okay.
So she happened to get me the job, and it was based on what I was doing before then. Because for about 15 years before then, I worked with my dad as an instrumentation specialist. So I knew all the surgical instrumentation that was
Wow.
being used in the OR. So when I
Okay.
went when I went to my interview with the manager at the hospital at that time, she hired me based on your stuff,
Your
your
stuff.
instrumentation.
Okay.
No, well, she said a different word, but yeah,
Your stuff.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So she hired me on the spot, and when she found out I was going up through the different levels of management, I finally saw her about 20 years later, and she said, "I knew you would be the one."
Wow.
And she found out that I went through my regular technical certification all the way up to being a director.
Mhm.
And she said, "I knew you would be the one. I I never doubted you." And I'm still in contact with her right now, through Facebook.
Wow.
And
Yeah. Well,
she's also
that's quite a
she's
statement.
also
She must have really believed in you, and she had a good eye when she saw what you had and what you represented,
mhm.
and for her to do that. I mean, I can understand how you'd have that bond and still have a connection with her now because of that.
I mean,
It
there I
takes
was.
one person, that
Hmm.
one person
Yeah.
to push you. It might
Right.
Exactly.
it might not be on your time,
Right.
but it takes
Uh-huh.
one person.
I mean,
That's a great point.
there I was, 24 years old, just getting out of technical school, and she saw my future, and she ran
She
with it.
was able to kind of,
She ran with
yeah,
it.
Hmm.
yeah. That's
Yep.
awesome.
And so anyway, I became that sterilization expert. So that's
Hmm.
how I went on to working with the Veterans Hospitals of America,
Hmm.
because they were transitioning over to an automated system where all their supplies, all their everything would be charged to the actual patient. And it was just at that time when good old President Trump said, you know, I will give to the veterans all the help that they need. And lo and behold,
Wow.
6 months later, I get a phone call from someone from a census tract that actually said, because of what President Trump is doing, we would like to bring you on. And they hired me on the spot,
What did they mean by that?
meaning they wanted to bring me on to be an implementation specialist to
Okay.
help educate the people in Central Sterile to be able to use this new system.
Uh-huh.
So I became that implementation specialist, traveling around the country. You know, I'm in a different city every 3 weeks, basically.
Okay.
I finished once. I would finish one place. My first assignment was all the way out in San Francisco. I stayed there for about a week and a half, or 2 weeks
Mhm.
actually, and then I came back to Florida. I was based out of Florida, and then from Florida I went back to Colorado. Did the same thing over there. I went from San Francisco to Colorado to Dallas to Houston to.
Wow.
I spent a month in the Texas area,
Uh-huh.
and I was tired, but you know what? I was living the dream. I was
Okay.
living my life to the fullest.
Uh-huh.
And then I went up to Maine, Andros, Maine, to be exact, uh, where I became sick. And when I was there in Maine, I was actually turned away from the hospital, to tell you the truth, because the veterans hospitals do not treat civilians.
Mm-mm.
Even though I had a federal ID, and they said, "Well, we can treat you, get you stable, but we're going to have to charge you for it." And I said,
Wow.
"Oh,
Yeah, because
well."
he's not service connected, even though it's a federal job.
Mm-hmm. So
Okay.
I said, "All right, forget it." So I was thinking about my pizza, and I drove back home 20 minutes to my hotel room. And as I was there in my hotel room, I called my manager and I said,
What did you
"What
have
is
on
the
your pizza?
pepperoni?"
Okay.
Tell you the truth, I had a
All right.
pepperoni and a 2-liter bottle of soda, and I was
Okay. All
determined
right.
I was going to finish it.
You did. By golly, you did.
Oh, I did. I got pretty
Yeah.
close to it too. But
Uh-huh.
I called my manager and I asked her. I said, "What is the protocol?" Because I am a diabetic.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I was diabetic, but I was eating pizza.
All right.
I was a bad diabetic.
Too many
Um,
carbs, right?
yeah, too many carbs. But I asked her. I said, "What is the protocol?" And she said, "Well, get yourself to what do you call it? Like an
Like a
emergency room or some kind of
yeah, like an urgent
uh,
care or
urgent care." Exactly. So I said, "Okay." Well, she was so concerned about me that she called my hotel saying, "Hey, look, I think something's wrong with Mr. Parroco. Can you please check up on him?" So as they were checking up on me, I was sitting there right in front of the manager at the front desk, and I heard them, say my name, and then I was sitting
yeah.
there. I was like, "Well, let me just sit here." I was actually kind of amused by it. I was kind of laughing, when I found out that they were looking for me. But as I was sitting there, I had some kind of spasm in my arm, and it caused my arm to twitch. So it
Wow.
brought up concern,
Yeah.
and they called the ambulance. They called the fire department to for me, which I'm glad that they did because that's where they found out what my blood pressure was. And they wouldn't tell me in the ambulance ride at all. Um, so anyway, 20 minutes later, I wound up in the main general hospital in their emergency room, and I thought I just blacked out. When in all actuality, I was dead. When they were putting in the catheter in my heart, um, I was over medicated. Something happened, and I flatlined while they were doing
Wow.
it.
Wow.
Yep. So I woke up, and that's the funny thing. I woke up. I was really a bad diabetic. Uh, First thing that struck my
You
mind
were a
was,
very bad diabetic?
oh yeah. I mean, I didn't watch my diet, and I smoked.
Yeah.
I was smoking
Okay.
about a pack and a half a day.
Yeah.
Um, so as soon as I woke up, I said, "I got to get out of here." I went outside and had a cigarette in the parking lot.
Just just after you had been okay. Well,
Yep,
and again, there are so many different ways that people react and different ways people can deal with stress and
exactly.
trauma, and so sometimes just going back to something that in your mind is going to help relieve some of the stress, because that's what people
Calm
tell me
down.
cigarettes may do. Yeah,
Yeah,
right. So
exactly.
I guess that can make sense.
So I went to the parking lot, had my cigarette. Actually, I had two, and
Uh-huh.
I called my wife. I said, "Honey, I'm in the hospital right now," and she, of course, all the alarms went off, and she called my dad, who was in here in New Jersey. My dad actually drove up about a week later to come see me,
Mm-hmm.
with her. Um, but that's how I found out.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, man, I mean, every time I hear that, you were literally, for all intents and purposes, dead, and then you were brought back to life, so to speak. I mean, it's just an inspiring story about how God isn't finished with you yet, and you've got
No, it's
still
not.
more to do. And so for my faith, I'd love to hear that, because I do believe that God has his hand in each of our lives, and so I firmly
Absolutely.
believe that you weren't ready, and God had other things for you to do. What with what you're what I'd like to hear a little bit more about, is how your sterilization expertise and what you know what makes you unique with that skill set, and how what that's meant to you now that you do go to kidney dialysis, okay, and how
Well,
you're able
mhm.
to maybe look at things with a different eye, so to speak, with a different lens.
Well, being a sterilization expert, you know what has to be done. And in my eyes, I see everything from a terminal sterilization or a processes type of viewpoint.
Okay.
Um, Number one, everything in dialysis has to be dated and signed by the technician. Number one. Number two, I was the first one to say you're all wearing the wrong kind of mask. You have to wear
Nice.
an, I have to say I said you have to wear an N95 and be fit tested, for it.
Oh, look at
Exactly.
Elizabeth. That's
And
awesome.
she's got
I'm
her.
gonna put her. I'm gonna put you solo for a second
I got,
there. I'm gonna
I
put
got
her show. Holy cow! Look at this. What is that, like a representation of COVID-19 right there? That's awesome. With the
yeah, it's out of a
spikes.
bag of dog toys
uh,
that I bought for my dogs, and it just happened to be on top of the fridge, and I was like, it looks like Rona.
It really does. All right.
That's
All
classic.
right. Thanks
All
for
right,
that
so
to us.
here's
So
N95.
it's
Hmm.
the
And
N95.
I told
And
him, I
how
said,
is
you had.
it different than what you had seen, okay, from other maybe techs or nurses there?
They were wearing the regular surgical mask,
Okay.
which is good because it helps you. I said, you're only helping yourself, with that. You're not preventing, you're a first responder. You're,
Okay.
you're, you need to protect yourself, and they said, oh, no, 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 it's not needed. It's not needed. I said, trust me, it is, because if you get an N95 and get yourself fit tested, you will know that nothing is coming in or out of that, because it's an actual biological respirator. And they said, well, how do you know? And I told them, I said, I'm a sterilization expert. I had to pull out my old ID. I said, take a look. They said, oh, well, that's not uh, pertainable to our situation. I said, yes, it will be. And unfortunately now the other shoe has dropped. You know,
Yes. Yeah.
PPEs, PPEs, your hair covering, your mask, your robe. I said all those three that you're doing right now. I said number one, it's 3 weeks too late. I said number two, I mean, you're doing self preservation. You're our first
Right.
responders. And I've always been an advocate for that. I said if you're going to do anything, protect yourself, because all protection starts with yourself.
So
No.
Elizabeth, before COVID-19, how how were you? How did you know about N95, or did you start wearing an N95 well before this all broke out, or did you want to protect yourself more securely after you started noticing that this was for real?
Well, 98% of the time I stay at home. So I'm not
Okay.
on dialysis, so I don't have to leave. Um,
Yeah.
I don't, I'm not going to work right now. I'm a non-essential business. I run my mouth for a
Mhm.
living. I'm an auctioneer. So we're
Nice.
so we're shut down right now. Um, you know, my significant other does my grocery shopping for me, so I don't have to go into stores or anything like
Mhm.
that. Unless I just get out.
Yeah.
I was always one of those kids who had a father that exposed me to germs. Get dirty, go out, get dirty. Who cares what you eat?
Right.
What germs you pick up, whatever, it's going to hit you. Because really, when you're a kid and you're exposed to those things, it helps build your immune system.
Right. It does.
Right.
You know,
Hmm.
and now being in the middle of allergy season, it's like, what is it? What is it?
So is it for
Especially
you? So is your
especially being in
allergy,
Tennessee.
is it dander, or is it like pollen and all sorts of stuff?
Pollen, grass, tree mold.
Okay.
They mowed our. I live in a HOA, homeowners association, and they mowed our grass this morning.
Oh, okay.
When that happened, my cough came and my sniffles, and I'm like, yeah, it's definitely Wednesday.
All right. All
But
right.
no,
So I'd like to see comments from other kidney warriors who also have allergies. Please comment
yeah,
below if you're a kidney warrior and you've got allergies, because that's the thing about kidney warriors is it's not just the only thing you battle.
yeah. But
Yep.
my dad fought ahead when the whole COVID thing started to be introduced to the United States, and bought us a bunch of N95 masks.
Oh,
Not not
wow.
not a bunch, but he did
So
buy
he
just
did that for
one.
you.
Yeah, my
Okay.
dad did that for our family so that we would have protection. They don't, they're
Uh-huh.
technically not supposed to be used more than
Very
once.
cool.
Um,
Right.
so, I have a couple here in case I do have to venture out into a hazardous area. We only have, like I said, earlier in our earlier conversation,
Right.
we only have 45 cases where I live in a town of about, well, in the area of the county, about 75,000 people. So
Okay.
we don't have a whole lot of cases here, but they are multiplying, but they're multiplying slowly because
Yeah.
our local government got on top of our state government
Well,
and
and
implemented social
that is
distancing, but
good.
the governor
That
did.
that is good to hear. That is positive, and I like positive, information. I do. One of the things that one of the things I heard just the other day was from my state in Utah. Okay, and our governor yesterday had he was on Facebook Live. In fact, did I tell you, Jeremy? I think I may have told
Yeah.
you this, but yeah.
Yeah.
So our governor in Utah was on Facebook Live, and they basically broadcasted his whole speech with like a medical person. I can't remember what title she had, and the thing that the thing that surprised me, okay, Elizabeth, is that the governor had to make a hard decision in Utah, and that he basically he extended these the rest of the school year for kids, teenagers, not for adults with universities, but for all of the Utah schools. He did a extended for the rest of the school year soft close. So
Oh,
what
our
that
governor
means
did
is
a hard
soft close.
close.
You know
Our
what I
governor did
mean?
a hard
Yeah,
close.
so they have to go online and finish the school, but they're not going into the schools physically, for the rest of the school year. So while he's doing this, okay, they're literally on this Facebook Live. Okay, we've got 10 people right now watching, and thank you, by the way. I've got Lisa Baxter, Steve Belcher. I've had Leslie DeVoe, Betty Hale Mayweather. Okay, and anybody else I may be missing out, I apologize. So thank you for the 10 people that are watching right now. There may be other people watching from watch parties, but imagine, okay, that there are 30,000 people watching a Facebook Live. I mean, it's just, to me, it's almost unfathomable, but there are 30,000 people watching this Facebook Live for the governor of Utah. Okay. And as you can imagine, the feed of, is pretty busy with the comments. And as I'm scrolling down, busy comments, all these comments, or people are doing a bunch of comments. Okay. There are people that are getting mad, okay, that the governor has done this. Okay. And some people are even writing, okay, negative words or comments like, please give us our life back. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, he didn't introduce the virus to Utah. You know what I mean? He didn't do it. It's not his fault. That's the least thing that he wants is the economy to do poorly, because he wants the economy to thrive. Okay. It's not like he wants to, put people in this sort of unrest. It's the safety and health of the people that has to be the first priority. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I mean,
which leads me to my
survive,
right. Yeah. So, which leads me to, some of the discussion I wanted to have tonight from, is that why is it that we have some people that still either aren't taking this seriously? Because that's, in my opinion, someone who isn't taking it seriously, who thinks that the governor is not allowing them to have their life. Because then you don't get it if you're making that comment. So,
right.
like, have you, Jeremy, and have you, Elizabeth, have you, either one of you, and anybody else that's watching this broadcast right now, I'd like to have you comment. Please comment if you have still spoken with somebody, had dialogue, whether on the phone or in a virtual setting online, and gotten the impression that they're not taking it seriously at this point still.
I mean, as I told you before, Jared, I experienced it in my dialysis center. People just saying, "Oh, President Trump is this, and President." Well, you know what? I was never a never Trumper. I've always supported President. I mean, he's my president. I'm proud of him. And I remember watching him before. He said, "I am human. I'm going to make a mistake. Don't criticize the mistake, or don't criticize the man for making the mistake. Criticize me for not making a move. That's when I should be criticized." And what these people were saying was, we need to get, as you said, get our lives back. And I said, you know what? Your life is there for you to protect. It's all about self-preservation. And I said all this as I was cleaning, because Elizabeth, Jared, I clean my own station every single time. I clean my machine with bleach wipes. I clean my chair as well, and I clean the TV arm because I've never seen them clean the TV arm, even though I don't use it. It's one of the dirtiest things at the dialysis station, because I've never seen them clean it at all.
Wow.
No, so I was no, I mean, I have my PDI wipes.
Okay, right on.
I have antibacterial wipes, and I have my bleach spray, some disinfectant spray, as well as having my hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
All this is in my bag as I go in every day.
And the thing is, and I like to hear from you as well, Liz, but the thing is that, okay, the people now, and I said this to you yesterday, I think, Jeremy, is that, okay, people that don't have a disease, okay, are now getting a glimpse, okay, a sliver of understanding, okay, of how kidney warriors are living on a day-to-day basis well before COVID-19 became a problem, a pandemic, because okay, your immune system and you were already weakened with your immune system well before this happened, and now other people are now having to work at becoming, they're having to worry about germs and the virus. So I'm hoping that our heightened sense of awareness that this doesn't cease, but it still amazes me how people still aren't taking this seriously. We have over 600,000 cases of this virus in the United States alone, and it may be climbing it. I don't know the number exactly, but over 23,000 people have died from this virus.
Yep.
I could be awful.
It's over 1 million worldwide between 150 countries.
Right. Cases are over 1 million now. So, Elizabeth, have you spoken with anybody online or maybe on the phone where maybe you don't feel like they're taking it seriously enough?
Well, most of the people that I communicate with are taking it very seriously. And when we go into the sterilization issue, it's not just kidney patients; it's
right.
with chronic diseases, period. That have to be careful. Not only do I suffer with polycystic kidney, I also have polycystic liver, which pushes the lungs up into the diaphragm, and it causes all kinds of other issues. I have some kind of underlying autoimmune disorder, so
this could be very serious to you if you were to contract.
Talking about people with heart disease, people with lupus, people with diabetes,
right.
the chronic conditions go on and on and on.
Right.
It's all if we all contract it, it's going to affect us differently.
It does.
And not only the immediate ramifications, but look at the long-term things that we could potentially suffer from contracting COVID.
Right.
So, but most of the people that I'm around are very cautious about what they do, what they wear. People here are wearing masks and gloves in grocery stores. If you go through a drive-through just a typical drive-through, they're changing their gloves. They take the money, they put the money in the cash register. They change their gloves.
God bless them. God bless them. So I want them to do that.
People in my area are very aware of what's going on. I live in a town that has a medical school. It's a teaching. We have a teaching hospital. So it's a lot of practices are in play here where they're not so much in others, not because they can't handle the capacity of it because of the supplies, but because they don't know how. Here, where I am now, we have supplies. We have ventilators. We're set up to go if we hit a point to where things start progressing. But, our governor mandated a safer at home order a couple of weeks ago. We could still go out, with social distancing, stuff along those lines. They closed our schools down a month ago. Schools have been closed for a month. Of course, kids are doing online programs, and elementary school kids are getting packets from home.
Okay, I think maybe you may have gotten a call with your phone, Elizabeth, and all right. Can you still hear me, Jeremy?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay. So Elizabeth, if you could log off, then click on the link and come back, because we've lost your audio. I can't hear you right now. Okay. So while we're waiting, yeah, I can't hear you, Elizabeth. So if you can just log out and then log back in. Okay. So what I'm what I'd like to talk about, Jeremy, from is what I got word of today. And again, I live in Utah, so it's different from state to state. New Jersey, okay, they have more cases. Okay.
Mm,
Um, so it's going to be a little bit different when we compare Utah to New Jersey. But I got word today that there there may be some gyms, okay, like personal fitness gyms, right?
mm,
Some public, places that may open up here in Utah. And I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that at all right now because okay, I've gotten word, Elizabeth, that there may be some like fitness gyms, like just what I mean by general when you have to pay a monthly fee and you go to a gym, right? Well,
right,
Yeah.
right.
I've heard that in Utah there may be some gyms that may open up now. Now, here's the thing, okay? I understand that there are some businesses suffering, okay, and economically, okay, many of these businesses haven't been able to open. They're suffering, their families are suffering, and I'm sorry for that, okay? And I don't want anybody to struggle financially where, that they don't know what their future looks like, financially. That's a bad future and it's bad to envision. With that being said, okay, I also don't want to envision a future where we're introducing people to a public place where they may congregate, okay, where they have the potential to infect other people.
Right.
This to me is just not a good idea. Okay,
It's a,
I understand. You know what I mean? I mean, I get it. Okay, let's practice social distancing. How are you going to do that in the gym?
well, I look at it this way. I'm an auctioneer, and all of our business interactions are crowds of people.
Yes. Yeah.
Just like we're a small family-owned business, and we're closed right now because we're non-essential. Gyms are non-essential at this point. Now, I can understand, doing things state by state depending on their numbers. Um, Tennessee's not ready. New York's not ready. New Jersey's not ready. I don't think California's not ready. Louisiana's not ready. Georgia's not ready. Um, but some states may be ready to take those steps. So,
Hmm.
a lot of gyms are small businesses, especially where around where I live. But there's, you know, chain
Right,
gyms,
like Gold's Gym or some
Gold's,
sort of
Elite,
national one.
Planet Fitness. We have those here too. So, it's not
Hmm.
just one business that's hurting. We're all hurting. And the faster that people can stay at home and social distance and keep themselves grounded and aware, the faster this thing is going to dissipate. I mean, it's not going to dissipate
Right.
completely.
Not
Somebody's
on
No,
going to,
its
it's not.
own. Not
Mm,
you know, hopefully that, I know Vanderbilt's working on research for vaccines, and we may have one in 6 months. It might take a
yeah.
year,
Right.
So, we really don't have any
It's not a
medical
quick fix.
solutions.
No.
It's not a quick fix. So we're all just going to have to hunker down and be patient and listen to our local governments, our state governments, um, and let them mandate what we need to do.
Right.
Do I like it? No. I want to go eat Mexican food. I want to,
Right.
I want to
I
go hang
want the
out with my buddies and
exactly. Okay, and and again, Jeremy, New Jersey, it's so dense and it's much more populated than Utah
mhm.
or even compared to Tennessee. But with that being said, wherever you might live, okay, I want the economy to start opening up again. It's not like I'm the guy saying I want us to be in another Great Depression. Okay, I
Right.
certainly don't want that. Okay, I don't. But what I also don't want is I don't want us to open up the gates to our economy so rapidly that we're introducing this, and we're infecting more people before we've got it under control. What we're doing now, okay, it's not like we've been able to control it extremely well. With that being said, the social distancing, okay, is working, okay? And the only reason why, okay, there are areas in the United States where it hasn't flourished, this virus, is because it's other areas that aren't as populated and there's social distancing, okay? So I don't want us to get so egotistical that, okay, that because our numbers are low, okay, that it's going to be okay. Let's open up the economy. I want a better future too. Do you know what I mean? But I want us to be careful.
Of course.
Things need to start opening up a little at a time. And especially in states where COVID is not as predominant.
And that's what they're actually doing now.
Yeah. And I can understand, or, opening up, some larger corporations with a staggered schedule, especially people that are, companies that are on the stock market. So the economy can start stimulating again. I mean, things need to happen, but it needs to happen in a staggered form, just not all at once. Because
it's not a light switch. It's not a light switch,
and more people are going to die, and it's just not good. It's just not good, in my opinion.
There's life on the line and potential deaths, and that's what I want us to be careful about as a country. Because, Jeremy, the alarming thing about New York, okay, and I don't know the numbers as well with New Jersey, but there were like 5 or 6 days straight where New York had 700 deaths per day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just staggering and alarming, what this is doing to some of some of the states on the East Coast. And Florida is getting hit. I know New Orleans is, and it's, I want a better future. I do. I just want us to be careful about it. I obviously want a better economy, but I just don't want it for us just to say let's open things up again, and then all of a sudden we've got a great surge.
Well,
it's a risk, and
it's going to be normal. This country and this world, just the world in particular, is not going to be normal. It's never going to be normal again. It's going to be a new normal. You may be right about with after you transplant, which I've not yet to see. After you transplant, you go to a new normal. You don't go back to normal. You go to a new normal.
Right.
And
a new normal.
It's going to be a new normal. So, as many medical teams can get on top of, doing research and finding a vaccine for this, the faster it happens, the better off we are. But it's gonna take time. And maybe then, after they've gotten the vaccine, maybe we can go back to normal. But it's going to be a new normal for a long time, I have a feeling.
A new normal, and I almost agree with you. I don't know if you do, Jeremy, is that, because I think that we'll have that heightened sense of awareness, which is good, and because we'll have that heightened sense of awareness, I think that we may have that new normal will still be on some sort of, being extra careful, and we may have to go. It doesn't mean that a new virus couldn't be introduced, at a later time. That doesn't make, it doesn't mean that a new one won't come out, and then what if we're caught unprepared again? So I don't think that we want to be caught unprepared again. Do you know what I mean? And so I almost envision us having this new normal where maybe we're going to be in the next 20, in the next 10 years, constantly trying to make sure that we're clean and we're using more sterilization methods and stuff like that. What do you guys think?
The sad thing about what's going on right now is all of these people that are dying, regardless whether they're organ donors or not, their organs are getting tossed.
Right.
And people that need transplants that have been sitting on a list for 5 and 10 years are not getting the
Yeah.
transplant from a matched donor because they cannot use these organs. And that's
Right,
one thing
because of
that
COVID-19.
really scares
Yeah.
me. And Jeremy, I'm sure it
Yeah.
probably, it affects you as well. Being on dialysis, I'm sure you're on a transplant list, are you not?
I'm still trying to get on the transplant list.
Still trying to get on the transplant list. Okay. What's your CFR?
That I do not know.
You do not know.
No, I don't. I didn't get my latest blood work. But it's never been good. I mean, I was put on dialysis straight in, from November 1st. So apparently it was really, really bad.
Yeah, apparently it's low enough. It may be 11, maybe 15, but your kidneys aren't functioning well enough on their own.
No, I mean, I'm still creating urine. Thank God I
Okay,
am.
you're still urinating.
Yeah,
That's a positive.
2 years later, I'm still creating urine. Not as much as I used to, but I'm still going to the bathroom every so often.
Yeah.
Just not as much as I wanted to. But yes, you're correct, Elizabeth. But I always tell everyone, it starts with yourself. It's all about self-preservation. If you're not going to save yourself, no one's going to save you from anything else. You have to.
You have to advocate for yourself. You have to
really
advocate for yourself.
Absolutely. I know, and man, if we can, and Deborah Carpenter, right? She's mimicking your statement to Elizabeth. It's heartbreaking because of the wasted organs, but I'm not saying that I blame them, because if they're, until they've found out that they can't reuse these organs, and they can't cure the organs that are infected, and I'm not saying I'm blaming them, but man, that's a percentage of people that we're losing that could potentially have been organ donors if they had died differently, or they could have been living anyway. They could have been living kidney donors if they had if they wanted to donate before they got sick. I mean, I don't know the percentages, but it is heartbreaking.
We're losing kidneys, we're losing livers, we're losing hearts, lungs, tissues.
Right, and their eyes, right. People donate their eyes. I mean, there are all sorts of things when potentially 8 people could be saved if you're a donor, and you die. It's not just the kidney, it's the liver, the heart, unless it's a heart attack, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Your pancreas.
It really is a waste. Like I was saying, you've got all these people on transplant lists that may have to sit on transplant lists for another 5 to 10 years.
Yeah,
because they have a viable healthy donor.
Yeah, the percentages are going to be a whole lot different now. I'm not a great mathematician, but this certainly is going to mess with the numbers a little bit. Yeah,
it's going to mess with the numbers a lot.
Yeah,
Jeremy, I hope that you do eventually get on a transplant list and get a kidney.
So do I. I mean, I do have a donor.
You do
have a willing donor. I do have a willing donor. That's the frustrating part. Is I am so close to I'm so close to the finish line. I can taste it.
Yes,
literally. And I'm reminded that because of this whole Corona thing, all transplants everything's postponed indefinitely. Now my struggle is sitting in dialysis, trying to keep motivated to go every time I have to go. Watch what I'm doing. That's my personal fight right now, is keeping the motivation, keeping my faith that it's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
And when I hear someone saying, "Oh, especially when it's a family member saying, "Oh, I don't want to donate my kidney," I said, "Do you realize what's sitting in front of you right now?" I mean, I have had actual family members say, "I'd give, but I don't want to go into surgery." I
Oh my
said,
gosh.
and I completely understand. Which
You have
brings
to,
me to, I mean, I am lucky. I have three donors right now, three willing donors. One of them is just a friend, a former employee, when I was in Florida, who said, "No, boss." I mean, I was literally her boss. She said, "Boss, I heard what's going on with you. I'd like to give you my kidney." She said, I couldn't save my husband because, unfortunately, he shot himself out of depression right in front of her. She said, I couldn't save Rick,
wow.
but I will be damned
Wow.
if I don't try to save you. That's one. That's Stephanie. The other one is my
Wow.
niece back in the Philippines. It's going to be hard to bring her here, you know, uh, to be a donor. But apparently,
Mm-hmm.
I reached out.
Travel restriction.
Right. Number one, travel restrictions. Number two, she has to get a visa from the
Yeah.
Philippines to come here. And I asked my no,
Gotcha. Okay.
I contacted um my transplant team, and they said we will help you. We will help her, get over here, whatever is needed, paperwork, whatever. You just have to pay
Mhm.
for it, to pay for her ticket to come, But and then there's the third, my significant other, who basically begged me to take her kidney. She said, "I want to grow old with you. Will you please
Wow.
take my kidney? You don't have to marry me, but just take my kidney. I want you to stay here." And that broke my heart.
That's
Yeah.
love.
She
Yeah.
said, "You don't have to marry me. You don't have to do anything. Just take it because I don't want to live without you."
Yeah.
So,
That's
That's
very
inspiring, man. If all
mhm,
everything we're all talking about, and you're talking about how this person wants to give you her kidney, and she's saying she wants to be with you for the rest of her life. That's love, And man, I needed to hear something positive. Thank you. I mean, that
right.
is so uplifting.
I'm still, probably 15 points from even evaluating for a transplant. My GFR is in the 30s, low
Hmm.
30s. And I have people all the time saying, "What do I need to do? Where do I need to go? What do you want? You can have mine." um, but I'm not at that point yet. But
Right.
these same people have been saying this for 5, 10 years. You know, uh,
Right.
Well,
so I'm like,
Elizabeth,
what's blood type?
Elizabeth, have you thought of being preemptive?
They don't do preemptive at Vanderbilt.
Oh,
Yeah, you
oh,
have to
okay,
be have to be 20% before, and that was something that we talked that Steve and Tamika and I talked about on the preemptive testing.
Right.
Um,
hmm,
Uh-huh.
but there's my left kidney functions at about 8%.
oh, okay,
My right kidney, well, my overall functions about 33, 34, and my right kidney is doing 78% of that work. So
It's the
right.
workhorse.
it's the workhorse, and it's the one that gives me the most trouble. I call it
Oh, really?
Lucifer. In the PKD world, we name our kidneys. My right kidney is
Yeah.
Lucifer, and my left one's Ursula. So,
Okay, Ursula.
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah, so but with PKD, I could be 20% evaluate for a transplant and never even have to see a dialysis machine.
Right.
Oh,
So,
okay.
it
I didn't
PKD,
know that.
yeah, PKD affects us all differently. Um, it just depends if it's rapid or slow.
Mm,
I mean, but if I'd not been on the GnRQ medication for the past 5 years, I probably would have been at least evaluating for a transplant right now, if not sitting on a dialysis machine. So I'm very thankful for that medication.
Hmm.
Um,
well, dialysis is not a fun thing. I
oh,
can personally attest for that.
I watched my biological mother go through it. It's, and just standing on the other side, facing my future, but 20 years ago, this medication wasn't available,
Right. So
wasn't
she
even thought of.
she was forced to go on dialysis because
Oh
it
yeah,
wasn't.
she went
Yeah.
on dialysis, I think, in 1993,
Hmm.
and she got her transplant. I want to say Thanksgiving weekend of 95. So, she was on dialysis for a couple of years. She went from hemo and center, and then she switched over to peritoneal. So, I was able to dialyze at home. But just watching her, I was watching potentially what could happen to me in the future. And it's scary.
Yeah.
It's really scary. But the way that I look at it now is, there's so much research, there's so many scientific elements that I'll never understand that go into all this research. And all these
Right.
scientists that are out there working for us to help better our lives and find cures.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's no,
Definitely.
cures for kidney disease is no different than finding cure for diabetes or AIDS or hepatitis. It's all, everybody's out there to find a cure for something, cancer, even.
Right.
It's, I'm not as scared today as I was 10 years ago. I can tell you that.
Well, good. And man, awareness does help, and education, resources, all of us can help people. And this is exactly what I want, and I mentioned this before. That's why I love doing Warriors Quest, is because we can give people hope. All right. And your statement alone, okay, it gives people hope, Elizabeth, because, you were scared to death, as you put it, because when your mother, your biological mother, was going through kidney dialysis, you saw potentially your future of having, because of PKD being, it's hereditary, right?
Yeah, I'm fourth generation that I
Fourth
know of.
generation. Yeah. So you saw potentially that could be you, virtually in the same sort of condition, and that
Hmm.
scared you. But
Yeah,
now you've
I
just
have
said that.
sense. I
Yeah,
have,
but now
I have
you say
sense.
you're not as scared anymore,
Yeah.
that gives hope. That gives hope, and I
I
love that. I
had
love
a
giving
dialysis
hope.
machine. I had a great aunt that sat on a dialysis machine for 20 years. She never
Fourth
got it.
generation.
She was
Yeah,
never eligible for a transplant, but
never
she
eligible.
never eligible. No, some people are not eligible.
Yeah, they
Dialysis is
sometimes
their only option,
right.
or hospice and die.
Yeah,
But she got
uh,
up 3 days a week, went an hour to dialysis. She did her dialysis. She went
hmm
home. That was her life. It was her new
hmm
normal.
right. But I
So
love that you don't have fear for what's going on right now. I love that, and I
don't
think
get me
that could
wrong,
give other people hope.
I am a little scared.
There's probably some fear, yes, but yeah, but what you said is that you're not as scared as you were 10 years ago, and I like that.
No, I'm not near as scared as I was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. So, like I said, there's just so much going on in the research community, and we're gonna get a vaccine for this corona.
Yeah, the coronavirus, COVID-19, it's
Right,
and I we just had we've had some great comments here. I want to thank Deborah Carpenter for her comments. And then we've got this sweet lady here, Betty Hale Mayweather. I've had her on Warriors Quest myself, and
her.
I've interviewed her, and I've had the chance to get to know her, and she's just one of the sweetest ladies. So nice. And what I love also about her is she has such a great faith in God. And God bless you for watching tonight, Betty Hale Mayweather. Betty, you're a great supporter, and I hope that God continues to bless you because you're a sweet lady. Thanks for watching tonight. But so she says right here, I was diagnosed with PKD in 2000. Changed my diet and just got on dialysis in 2019. My doctor said I did good staying off dialysis that long after being diagnosed. Yeah, for almost 20 years. That is good.
Yeah.
And she
Well,
says right here, thank Thank,
You know, she
thank
says, you know,
you.
she got diagnosed and then 20 years later she winds up on dialysis. And here I am, 22 years almost. I was diagnosed on my 21st birthday, and I'll be 43 this year. So,
Right.
um, you know, 22
Okay.
years basically after being diagnosed, and I'm still in stage 3B. I've not always eaten right.
Mhm.
Um, I've not always drank enough water. You know, it's
Okay.
like
Yeah.
I told Steve, we're human. Eat your pizza, eat your cheeseburger, drink your cup of
Right. We
coffee.
are.
You know, we're human. We have to
You
live.
know,
We
but
make mistakes. So, you
Right.
know,
yeah.
but diet,
Right.
but diet does play a lot into it. You know, I try to eat primarily a vegetarian diet. Today I cheated and ate some chicken. You know, so
Okay.
I might cheat tomorrow and have 5 slices of pizza for Jeremy.
For Jeremy, right?
Yeah.
And you won't have to take binders, but you know, Jeremy, what you've done tonight. Okay, your story is always so
Mhm.
inspiring. Okay, you were literally dead. You were, you know, for all intents and purposes, you flatlined. You were dead. Okay, you've been brought back. Okay, and now you're telling us a story tonight about the love of your life. Okay,
Mhm.
your significant other, your girlfriend, is saying that she wants to donate and give her your kidney, give her kidney to you.
Right.
Okay, and it's just an inspiring love story. Okay, so you've given hope. Elizabeth, you're giving a lot of people hope who have PKD, and this has been a great show in regards to another episode, another show of giving hope, and I love that. Okay, it's why I get so passionate about what I do, because I want to give people hope. So what I'd like to do before we end the show, okay, is I'd like to hear from each of you, and I'll put you solo when you say this, but I'd like to just have you give your own sort of hope to somebody who may be dealing with this right now in this pandemic, and how you would give them hope. I'll hear from you first, Jeremy.
All right. Well, my first story of hope was stems back to when I was first hospitalized. I mean, I never told you this, Jared, but I was also put in the hospital because I was hypercalcemic, meaning they were trying to figure out what was going on with me, and they brought it down to thinking it was cancer because they found a nodule in my chest. Well, here I am. You know, the doctor told me when I first went to um, Memorial Sloan Kettering, the number one cancer center in New York City, from day one, he told me I had um, angiosarcoma, which is a soft tissue cancer. And it took me a year and a half of praying and eating correctly. So yes, you can you can try to do as much as you can, but last year or this year, I'm sorry, last year, December 15th, I got the news I am cancer free, which is why I'm trying to get onto
Hallelujah.
onto onto the donors list or
Yeah.
the be approved for the kidney donation. So that's my little bit of hope.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. Thanks, Jeremy. All right. So, Elizabeth, let's hear from you. How would you like to give somebody hope? And how, if someone's going through, you know, kidney disease right now, whether it's PKD or just kidney disease or any sort of disease, and how would you like to give them hope, and what would you say to them?
Well, you know, I think I touched a lot on this just a few minutes ago about, you know, the research with, you know, kidney disease and heart disease and all these other ailments that we're affected by in this, you know, in the world, not just the
Hmm.
country, but in the world.
Right.
So, you know, keep your head up. You know, reach out to people, start talking. Um, you know, if you're not getting a direct answer from your doctor, get another doctor. Do
Love
some,
it.
Oh
you
yes.
I had to fire my nephrologist that I'd had for 15, 20 years and went to Vanderbilt.
Uh-huh.
So, advocate for yourself. If you cannot advocate for yourself, find somebody who will.
Nice.
And Jared, that's where you play a very significant role in all of this because you advocate for kidney patients, even though you're not a
Mhm.
kidney patient yourself.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. So just try to eat right and drink plenty of water and watch what you do and just you got to keep your head above water somehow. And like I said earlier in our private conversation, I've got one friend who has tested positive for COVID that lives in the Nashville area that's in healthcare. He has battled neuroblastoma. He has battled two different forms of lung cancer, and he will bust COVID's face because he is that big,
Nice.
strong of a fighter. So it takes a lot. It takes a lot of inner self. It takes a lot of courage, and sometimes you just got to dig down deep and find it, and deal with things one day at a time. Sometimes you have to deal with things 1 minute at a time.
Yeah.
And one thing that I find is very important is it's okay to say no. If you don't feel like doing something, it's okay to back out. It's okay to say no. You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of anyone else or before you can allow someone to take care of you. So just keep swimming, keep swimming.
Nice. I love it. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're
Both of
welcome.
you, thank you. Thank you for coming on tonight, giving hope, giving feedback, and really being such a great supporter of the kidney disease community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you for all you do.
All right. You're welcome. Thanks again. Thanks again, Elizabeth. Thank you, Jeremy. Have a good evening, man. I'll be in touch with you. You know I will be, right?
Definitely.
All right, brother. Thank you. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching tonight. We've heard from Jeremy Parroco, Elizabeth Sterling. I want to thank her again. Thank you, Elizabeth, for watching. Thanks for coming on as a co-host. I mean, you've
You're
been a gracious co-host. Thank you.
welcome. Thank you. Anytime. I'm sorry I actually hit the wrong button and it knocked me out. But
No,
anytime,
you're
anytime,
fine.
anytime. Yeah, I'd be happy to
Yeah,
come on
thank
anytime.
you very
I'm not the
much.
most knowledgeable person, but
All
you
right.
know,
Well, I'm going to try to connect you with my brother Randy, okay?
awesome. Yeah, I'd love to talk to him. And I saw something real quick down in the live comments. Stephen DeVore. He says I need a kidney due to PKD. My last GFR was 12 and my blood type is O. If you know anybody interested, please contact me. Stephen, if you want to send me a private message if you're still watching, um, maybe or send Jared a message. Maybe we can hook you up with Jim Meyer. I know he does a lot of advocacy work, and he could probably help you set up a page to to put your story out there and what you need and what transplant centers you're listed at. There's
Absolutely.
so many ways to
Yeah.
do it. Stephen, if you're still watching, reach out to one of us. We'll see if
Mm-hmm.
we can help.
Yes, absolutely.
It just kind of,
Thank
I
you.
kind of wanted it last minute. So,
No, I love that. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yes, Stephen, please. I mean, Jim Myers, Uncle Jim is a great resource. We've got people that will help you if you need some direction in regards to how to promote your search for a living kidney donor.
I did it again.
I
Sorry.
think you I think you got cut off again. No worries. Thank you. Yes, I absolutely agree with you. You know, Uncle Jim is a great resource. I have so much admiration, respect for him. Steve Belcher and I will continue to give any sort of tips, any sort of instruction. You know, and we're all here to help people. We'd love to give Stephen any help that we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, thank you very
All
much
right.
for
Well,
having
Elizabeth, thank you very much for coming on again.
I'll do it. I'll do it again anytime you need.
All right, I will. Thank you. I'll probably ask you again sometime soon. Thank you. All right, everybody. We've had some great co-hosts. Elizabeth Sterling is awesome. All right, she brings just a great background from PKD, and she, fourth generation. Jeremy Parroco, such an inspiring story. All right, he's from New Jersey. Okay, where there's so much going on, but we've hope. Okay, hope is what I wanted to bring again tonight, especially with what's going on right now. I want to continue to give hope. All right. I understand things are a little turbulent right now with everything that's going on. All right. I get that. All right. There is things that are gloomy. There are things that are dark that may be happening, but there is still light. Okay. There is still, the sun still rises in the morning. Okay. And I take a look at the earth we walk on, and it's a slap in the face if you tell me that there's no God. All right. So please, there is a God. There is hope. All right. He loves us. Please continue to have faith. Please have hope. God bless you, everyone. Thank you for watching. I'm going to end the show, but I want to thank you for watching. And I want to thank our sponsors at Kibo with Renadil. I want to thank Michael Scott. Okay. And I want to thank the American Kidney Foundation. Okay. And Richard Knight. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Peace. I'm out. Oh, I'm going to find an outro. Where is it? There we go.